Have you ever seen someone else's work and wondered how the frick would they do that? Well, that's what I asked myself when I found Hades, this amazing video game which we have already studied before. But right now, I want to talk specifically about coloring, since in my last art study, I totally focused on proportions and line work. And for this little experiment, this time we're gonna change things a little bit. Usually, I would recreate a piece from said medium or whatever I'm trying to understand. But since we already did a little bit of that, and most importantly, I didn't think I would totally steal this for my very own art style, I decided to adapt it with Alec and Seth, my two OCs that I never use, so I thought this would be a great opportunity. So we're skipping sketch and line art, cause you already saw that, okay? So here it is, my little baby Seth. And for you to understand why am I coloring the way that I'm coloring right now, I need to explain to you a little bit about his lore. This is Seth. He is a half American, half Korean boy whose biggest dream in life is becoming a K-pop idol. And he doesn't talk any Korean because his mother died. So he doesn't really know Korean. His father never taught him, and now he can't talk, but he has a dream and he's willing to accomplish this. And why do I need to tell you this for you to understand the way that I'm coloring? Well, that is because I didn't want him to look idolish. I think when we are thinking about an idol, you may be thinking like, K-pop Demon Hunters, bright color, colorful everything and whatever. But if you know anything about K-pop trainees, you may know that's not how they look. Not at all. They look tired and disheveled and with a lot of things going on with them because they're training, they're having classes, they are studying, they are having a ton of things at the same time. So I didn't really want him to look idolish. So when I was thinking about that, I really felt like I needed to make some base colors and some coloring that wasn't too flashy. That's why I got this reference specifically. Looking back, as this was my first coloring in this style, you really can tell that I was new and I was shy. Because this is the part where me, Lance, hello, nice to meet you, I tell you how I did this and the little things that I learned from doing this art study. First of all, most important, I'm a coward with colors. And I think this sounds dumb, but actually it makes a lot of sense. Let me explain. When you are using this coloring style, you may notice that the shadows are dark, and they have a lot of things, and it's a lot of trusting the process. It's a lot of understanding that contrast makes out great opportunities if you let yourself try it. Which is interesting, to say the least. Because a lot of times I would try to not be so extra when it comes to coloring. Like, I love using bright colors, but usually they're added colors, not like shadow colors. But really, that was the thing that made this drawing work for me. So I really tried to recreate this art style, specifically in the area of changing and doing the transitional colors that they have. Let me explain. In case you don't know, the coloring style that we're using is cell shading. Cell shading is a pretty simple way of coloring, which is normally used in animes and cartoons since it's cheaper to draw and animate. But since Hades is a video game where they use the same art over and over again, no matter how or when, sorry, they use it over and over again, they don't need to animate it or not in the detail that they do the splash art, so they are capable of adding a lot to that cell shading, which is what we're doing right now. So I really wanted to understand how to detail something that's normally not detailed, and that means transitional colors. Transitional colors means that instead of being shadow one color, skin well, not only skin, but you get base color and shadow, and those two colors. We have a transitional color, which would be that we have base color, transitional color, shadow color. 3 colors, which for me it was really difficult because I tend to use my colors in a way that at the end I have too many colors. I really have too many colors, and that's not something that I don't like. I love having a lot of colors. I'm a colorful guy, but okay. When I was trying to recreate this, I was afraid to end up with too many colors. This is why I was really scared of starting to that transitional color that I should be adding right now in the speed paint. Using that transitional color was a great way for me to understand how much I am not used to going out of my not comfort zone. Let me explain. Over the time of whatever time this channel has been open, I have been learning a lot. I have been trying a lot and working a lot in my art. And even when I think I haven't improved that much, the matter of the fact is that even if it's not improvement, my art style has changed a lot. And it's still changing. Every single day is changing. Right now, I have a new drawing tablet and that changed my style. I have a lot of things that change my style all the time. But that makes me not understanding what am I doing right now. Like, I'm always adding new things, I'm trying out new things, so when I had to do someone else's comfort zone, that was crazy. That was real crazy. And I think that's something that you don't realize until you're doing an art study. That's why I love doing art studies so much, because it's so interesting and you learn so much, not only about other artists, but about yourself too. But let's talk about another thing that I've learned. And that thing is shadows are the same color as your base color. And okay, I don't know how many of you see the things the way that I see them, or have learned the things the way that I learned them. But when I was a little kid, just learning how to draw, and I was naive, someone taught me, I think it was a YouTuber, I think I learned it from Yapura Meri. She is an Argentinian artist that I really like. While I was growing up, well, Meri, she used to say like she liked to color her shadows in purple, and a lot of other artists will say like, don't color the same color as your skin. Color with, well, shadow with another color. Like if you are making a red shadow, then do it, I don't know, brown the shadow or something like that. Like, don't stay in the same color. And that's something that I have learned and did a lot of times, because that's how I learned. But looking at my references now, I see that sometimes they do use the same color, specifically in the references that you're seeing right now. They're using the same color. Like, red is red, and everywhere. It doesn't matter. Red's red, and you're gonna show it with red. And I didn't really know how to do that. I was so afraid to, like, change up things. And I was so afraid that I didn't notice how things worked and how the color palettes in this art style, like, help itself out. What do I mean with it? If you can see this little drawing of my baby Seth, you could see he looks a little bit old. I don't think it's that old, but he does look a little old. And that's not something wrong, but he is a boy. He is a little boy with round glasses and aspirations in life. So I didn't know what was making the colors not work until I discovered this art style has a lot of contrast in it. And that was my problem. Well, as you saw, both Alec and Seth have a purplish bluish hair color. It wasn't intentional. I totally forgot about Alec when I was doing Seth, but I married with Seth with his little blue hair color. So I didn't notice that, and when I was trying to like make them look a little bit apart, while I was doing the sketches, I saw my references and said, oh, well, they do grayish, it maybe work. But I didn't notice that pale skin doesn't look the same as tan skin when I'm coloring things. And I am not someone who's like, I'm familiarized with coloring dark skin, or at least tanned skin, since I'm Latin. That's the kind of people that I see all the time. That's the kind of people I draw when I'm drawing people that I see. My partner is tanned, and I draw him a lot. So it's not about not understanding, is what is the fact that I didn't know how to use it with a drawing of someone who I was just learning out their color palette, and I didn't notice until I changed up the values after drawing this speed paint. But as I said, in these references they have pale skin, they have like something that will contrast, and it made them look bright. This only makes my little boy look old, and that's something that I really gotta work on. But I think at the end I recolored his hair, and it looks way better. It looks really way better, and I'm really proud of that. But another little detail that I noticed from this art style, which is, don't overdo it, or not all the time. As you may see, this has transitional colors, and that's amazing. But not every color has a transitional color, and that's something that I didn't understand. And let me explain you a little bit better. When you are seeing an art style, it's really important to check out a lot of the works from said artist, not just 1, 2, 3, or 4. When you are seeing someone's art style, you may not understand why they're doing the things they're doing until you check out for a pattern. In this case, this little pattern was my baby boy having like some details, and some details that were not as important. Like his hair, it looks overdone because it didn't need that transitional color for the highlight. There are parts where it works, and there are parts where it doesn't. And I failed to understand that because I was having too few references while I was drawing, which really made me shit in my food. It was really hard for me to understand why it looked overdone, and I didn't like it, and I really struggled to do that, to not overdo it, because in my mind it didn't look overdone. It just looked like the reference, but I didn't understand why it didn't look as good. Now I understand it, and now I know what was going on. But in that moment I couldn't figure it out, and it really made me feel frustrated. But one important detail about this art style is the fact that they know where not to add detail. You may see these kind of drawings and think, oh my god, that's so detailed, I need to add a lot to everything. But that's not true. This art style has its ways to simplify things when you're not seeing, or parts that are not as important, parts that are not stealing your attention, are not as detailed all of the time. Because they don't need to be. Really, they don't need to be. And that's something that really makes it not look over-designed. For example, Hello of a Bus. Hello of a Bus has amazing designs, but they have so much going on that sometimes you don't even remember the details of that. And I gotta tell you, poor animators, they have all my respect, because how did they do that? How they animate that show? I don't get it. But they're overdone. Even though I like and I love Hell of a Bus, I gotta tell you, they have so much detail. And that's an artistic choice if you want to see it that way. But sometimes you really have to learn when to stop, and that's something that I didn't notice while I was doing these drawings. I didn't know where to stop and where to say, hey, I respect the amount of time that I have in this planet. And I really didn't know what to do. But luckily for me, I decided to take a break and really see my other references, which made me understand what I was doing and what I was doing wrong specifically. And I really hope to show my improvement sometimes, because as I said, these characters are forgotten by me. So I'm trying to redesign them, so you may see some little doodles about them. in my social media, which are my Blue Sky, where I post my drawings, and my Kata, where I post other drawings but not tweeted, and sometimes, like, my better drawings are in my portfolio. You already saw the recolored version of Alec, from Seth, and now we're watching Alec. This little baby boy who you're seeing with his grumpy face and injured arm, this is Alec. He is a roller skater. And funny thing about roller skating, you'll always fall. Just as rollerblading, just as skating, you'll always fall. And I really want him to draw him injured, since he is a little baby boy who's just learning out, and he's just trying to understand what the hell he's doing. And I love that for him. So for this drawing, I decided to get more references. You're just seeing one, but in my cell phone, like, it was right behind, aside of me, I was checking and swiping for other references while I was doing this drawing, which helped a lot. It really helped a lot. And this is the part where I want to explain you what I said at the beginning. And that is the fact that I'm not stealing this for my personal art style. And that's something you need to understand when to do. I love learning and trying new things for my art style all the time. I love it. It makes me feel full. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel like I'm improving, and most importantly, that I'm getting closer to whatever I want to become. But there are times where you just gotta learn something to just add a little tiny thing of all that you learned. And that's not wrong, that's just part of life. You cannot be like a combo of everything you like. That's impossible. Like, you may like a lot of styles, you may like a lot of things, but you cannot be a combo of everything, because you got one art style. Maybe, I don't know, there's people who have inconsistent art styles, but there are things that you just can't recreate every single time, and there are things that you will want to add to every single one of your drawings, and that's alright, and you don't have to overdo your own art style. And that's what happened with me. I really wanted to understand how they make their color palette so cohesive. That's why I'm doing this art study, really, because I have another art study on mind that I really want to record as soon as possible, but I really wanted to understand how they make their color palettes look so cohesive. If you're wondering the same thing, the answer is the fact that they add the color. Like, one color they added in a lot of places. The turquoise that I'm adding to make the highlights of Alec's skin is also the turquoise that will be a highlight for his shirt, and the yellow will be highlights in his clothes. Those kind of things, those are the things that make these drawings have a cohesive color palette all over their drawing. That's what I wanted to learn. I ended up learning how to do transitional colors. I ended up understanding how they make some more geometric kind of highlights. And I'm not gonna use that ever again, because that's not part of what I want to do. I really like to do details that go out of the drawing, and I really like to make them look exaggerated and like chunky highlights, and maybe a little bit more brighter highlights. And that's something that I learned how to do from learning from other people, from learning other art styles. But right now I just wanted to learn one thing, and I ended up learning a lot of other things that, even though that I appreciate, they're not things that I'm gonna use all of the time, because I have a certain respect for my own critical decisions. Not only because I love one art style, I want to draw that exact same way. Because I think that is the part that make you feel great about your art. Understanding that this is what you like, and that it is yours at the end of the day. I love this art style, and believe me, the way that I colored the hands, that's one of my favorite things that I have ever done. I love that hand, and I want to recreate it, and I want to really understand how to do that. But my main goal here was learning how to do cohesive color palettes, and I think I learned how to do that, and I'm really happy with that specific detail. But I'm not happy with everything else, because that's not part of me. I'm not stealing that. I am not planning of taking that for my own art style, but I wanted to learn how to make cohesive color palettes and how to make less detailed things look as detailed, and that's alright. You don't have to learn, well, to recreate everything that you learn. That's not human. That's just something that you see, and that's alright. There are a lot of artists out there that you can learn from. You don't need to learn from every single one and add every single little thing that you do, because as a matter of fact, there'll always be someone who inspires you, and you don't always have to learn specifically everything of what they do, because your art style is amazing by itself, and you don't need to alter it to make it not look as amazing. And that's alright. And I really hope you like this second drawing, where I actually ended up adding my own touch to this coloring style, which made me feel a lot happier. It made me feel a lot more comfortable with what I did. I don't love the drawing, really. I love the concept, but I think I'll have to redraw it to really understand Alec. And I really need to fix his hair problem that he himself have similar colors going on, even though they're completely different in like personality. I'll have to redo it and re-understand both of the characters, but I think the drawings were great and I managed to do what I wanted to do, and that's something that I will always be really happy and thankful for. And that's how I wrap up my little series of drawing Hades and understanding Hades art style. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you learned something from me learning. It was an adventure, it was really fun, and I'm really thankful. I still have a lot of other studies in my mind, so if you want to see that, you can always subscribe. You can subscribe. I have a lot of cool things, and I also like to make a little bit about myself if you want to check out the life of an artist, student, trying to make money, girl, boy, whatever I am. You can check it out. I also post on Blue Sky a little bit about me drawing or my artistic journey. But if you want to see only dumb things that I think, you can also check out my TikTok. Oh, and I have a little, if you want to see if you like my artistic image, I have Instagram. I have an Instagram where I post things edited in my own personal art style, but not drawings. I have a lot of videos talking about why I don't post my art there, but you can check it out if you like the things about photography and editing of photos. And I think that's it. I think that's all my social media. So goodbye. Thank you all for watching. See you later. Bye.